This episode of the Parity podcast is brought to you by dailypuzzles.com.au. For great quality speed cubes at super low prices, make sure you guys go check out dailypuzzles.com.au and use discount code Parity for an awesome 10% off your entire order. That's dailypuzzles.com.au and Parity for 10% off your order. Hey guys, and welcome to this month's episode of the Parity podcast. We have got a lot of stuff ready for you today. In this episode, we talk about all the new cubes that have come out this month, which there are so many of. Afterwards, we finally have a section called Comp News, where we talk about the brand new Squan world record single. Then we'll talk about budget cubes, how they're creating such a tight market and essentially changing the speed cubing market. After that, we'll have an interview with the first ever person to get a sub 5 single in a comp, Lucas Etter, and then finish off our 6 months competition of True or False.
Yo, it's Cupid here. Hi, my name is Jack Kai.
Hi, my name's Kieran Behan.
Hi, I'm Kevin Lee from Cubing Coded, and you're listening to the Parity Podcast.
Parity Podcast.
Parity Podcast.
The Parity Podcast. You're listening to the Parity Podcast, brought to you by your hosts, Mitch Creighton and Jan McGinley. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of the Parity Podcast. I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for tuning in today. And as we said just before, we're going to start off by talking about the new cubes of the month. Then we'll talk about the Squan world record. Then we'll have a chat about how budget cubes are creating a whole new market for speed cubing, an interview with Lucas Etter, and then True. Okay, so now we have the new GAN 11 Pro M. Obviously, we have seen a lot of leaks online, and we've seen it has a new core, and it's just a new flagship cube. Obviously, we can tell that GAN is using the iPhone 11 Pro strategy. Obviously, they're sticking to the same line as iPhones. I think it's to its name. It's quite a premium cube, and it'll probably be one of the best cubes out there.
Oh, yeah. First looks at it we've seen are absolutely incredible. That core looks insane, and I can't wait to see what sort of feeling it provides to the cube. We've seen many top cubers receive a prototype of this, and I think we're looking about midway through October when it will become fully available. I'm quite interested in this. I cannot wait for it. There's a lot of hype around it already. I think it's going to do really, really well. That core looks incredible with the magnets coming off of it. That's just going to create a whole new vibe. Next up, we have the MGCR. We have seen just about nothing yet about this cube. All we saw was something on ProCubes on Instagram a couple of days ago. My prediction for this is that it is a YJ response budget cube for all the budget cubes that we've seen recently. That seems like most probable to me. I hope it's this, and if it is, then I'm quite excited for it, to be honest.
Yeah, same. I'm really excited as well.
Next up, we have got the GAN Premix finally released. There's been quite an incredible response from the public. A lot of people really like it. I myself love the Premix and have mained it.
It's really exciting because obviously TINGMAN talked about it a bit. It just looks like MGCs have finally caught up, and damn, are they performing. I'm looking forward to see how this compares to obviously the Yushin and the X-Man 7x7. Hopefully this can compete, and for its price, hopefully it'll be better.
Oh yeah, this something like so great about the MGC line is that they are really cheap, but they perform so well. I'm really hoping for that from this cube, and I'm quite excited to see how it turns out. I think a lot of people are really like. Next up, we've got the Little Magic M, which is the factory-produced Little Magic 3x3. I'm not sure if we talked about this in the last episode. I think we might have, but it's finally been released now. And there's been a lot of response from the public. They seem to really like it. I got it myself. Actually, both of us have it. And It is quite a nice cube once set up and stuff. I think it will do really well for Yushin.
Yeah, definitely. I felt it. It's very loose out of the box, so I'm definitely going to be tightening it. It's also quite sandy. And thanks so much, Mitch, for the cube. It's very nice.
No problem. Anytime.
If you guys don't understand, it was my birthday a couple of days ago, and Mitch basically got me that and a couple other things for my birthday. So thanks, Mitch, for that. It's quite a great cube, actually.
No problem. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Next up, we've got the TS.
Yeah, I saw that actually. I was really surprised. It looks really, really interesting. As obviously,
Obviously, I've never seen that in a 2x2 before. I don't know about you, but it just looks like revolutionary to me. I don't know. It just looks really good.
No, that is absolutely amazing. I'm really excited for this. I'm not quite sure the overall what the actual turning quality of the cube is like, but this sort of tech in the cube is really cool. And I think that's a good thing to note, I guess, of what we might see in future from cubes.
Yeah, definitely.
Next up, we got the Meilong M Pyraminx. This, of course, is a Pyraminx in Meilong's new factory-produced magnetic line. First looks at it look really pretty good. Obviously, the Meilong.
Obviously, the price should be pretty good, so I'm just hoping for the performance. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite a good option for beginners getting into Pyraminx.
Yeah,
And then last cube of the month, which is a really big cube, is the announcement of the RS4M. Obviously, we've seen the RS3M, which is probably going to be the best budget cube of all time. So for the RS4M to come out, it looks pretty good first out the box. I'm probably going to... All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back with some comp news.
This episode of the Parity Podcast was brought to you by the following: Harry Daniels, Kathleen, and Cubing Madness YouTube. If you guys are looking for your $1 per month shout,
Yeah, we get thousands of listeners monthly. We've got heaps of people tuning in. So to advertise something such as your YouTube channel, like Cubing Madness, is a really good option. We probably don't promote him enough as what we are actually supposed to. But if you've got a YouTube channel or maybe a Discord server or an event coming up and you want to get the word out, buying the $1 Patreon for the podcast. Anyway, let's just get straight back to comp news. All right, so we have finally got comp news section. This is like the first time in the entire podcast ever that we've been able to do it because of cancelled comps. But we finally got comp news, and that is a Squan world record single by Martin Vidal Egdal. He got a 4.59 Squan single, with the previous record was 4.95. So quite a significant. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this. I've recently gotten into Squan myself, and it is quite a fun event. So to see this is quite cool and quite promising.
yeah, I'm very excited, obviously. Squan has a lot of potential, and I don't think people have been taking it as seriously as it can be. I think
For sure. So congratulations. You really well deserves that record, and we hope you hold it for a little while. Okay, so here is a massive topic right now. Budget. Let's talk about how budget cubes are creating such a tight market, and there's almost not much of a need really for flagship cubes. The budget cubes that we've seen recently in the Chi MS, the RS3M 2020, Meilong M, the Little Magic M, these cubes are just incredible. And for most cubers, not just beginner cubers, but for most cubers, these are honestly like perfect cubes for them, and this is all they will need. I mean, even I mained the RS3M for quite a while until I got the WRM 2020. But even now, I've recently played around with my Meilong M a lot more, and I'm considering switching from the WRM 2020 to the Meilong M. It's just crazy how good some of these cubes are.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. The technology just keeps getting better. I wonder what the limit is, though. I wonder how far we can go before it just gets too far and there's no more possible technology. But cubing hardware has just been so good lately. I'm so happy at the moment.
Yeah, that will be the real question. I mean, like, the quality has been just made so much better in budget cubes. Budget cubes used to be, you used to get one when you first started cubing, and that was about it. Now, most people are, like, frequently using and buying budget cubes. Like, there's not really much of a need for flagships anymore. The quality is just getting so much better.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Obviously, I'm really looking forward.
We've already seen that the budget cubes are creating such a competitive market already with, I mean, Chi made the MS, Moyu responded with the RS3M 2020 and the Meilong M. And now we've got Yushin doing the Little Magic YJ with a MGCR. So it's just absolutely crazy. The competitive of this is good, and this will ricochet through the entire market and bring all cubes down. That's what I'm hoping to come out of this the most. This is just great for cubing in general, I think.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
We're going to take a quick break now, and we'll be back on the other side with an interview with the first ever sub-5 world record holder, Lucas.
The following message was brought to you by a major sponsor of our show, Tino. Tino cubing is better than TINGMAN. 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 Tino cubing is better than TINGMAN.
Okay, and as we said earlier, joining us here today for an interview is the first sub-5 world record and arguably one of the most memorable records of all time, Lucas Etter. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Nah, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, I really appreciate it.
So I guess the first question that just has to be asked is, how did you actually get into cubing?
Well, for me, it was a little bit different to the typical speed cubing entrance. I actually wanted to solve, or my only goal was to solve the cube, not to solve for speed at first. I think I was 8 years old. It was September 2009, so a little over 10 years, actually almost 11 years ago, was when I first finally solved the cube. I think I just picked up a cube in my grandparents' basement that summer, and I was hooked. But what really got me into the speed cubing scene was when I looked up Felix's, I don't remember what the record was. Oh, I think it was his 677 on YouTube. That's what really inspired me. And after I started speed cubing, I think that was late 2010. Never put it down. First competition was April 2011. So almost been 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Only a few cubers actually managed to go like 10 years. Like I think Kieran Bihan said that he's 10 years cubing as well. Like it's quite a hard thing to like do 10 years. Yeah.
I think Kieran, he didn't first compete until, I don't even know. I think it was 2014 maybe. Probably a little before that. But yeah, he lives in Ireland, so it's a little more difficult. But fortunately, I live in the US, so plenty of opportunities.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So today in 2020, how long do you think you spend practicing 3x3?
To be honest with you, I don't really practice that much anymore. Part of that is because I don't have as much time as I used to. And probably the main reason is that I really can't practice like I used to because of physical reasons.
Yeah.
So I was diagnosed with arthritis back in early 2018. And I'd say comfortably, I can only do, maybe an average of 100 every few days or so. And even then, I don't do that many solves typically. But yeah, I'd say, most days I'll probably pick up a cube and do a few solves, but otherwise it's really no dedicated practice.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very hard. Have like Moyu been like trying to like support or like make a cue that might like help or is it just, do you think?
As of now, no. But I definitely do coordinate with Moyu. I tried to endorse the products and ensure that they are very high performing cubes at the highest speed cubing level.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so what about back in when you got your 4.9 single, how long would you spend practicing 3x3?
Okay, that was 5 years ago almost. Wow. I think I averaged 2 to 3 hours of practice a day back then. I really peaked in practice when I was in middle school. So that was a year or two before. I'd say it was closer to 4 hours a day.
Wow.
And during the summertime, it was, my whole day was centered around cubing. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you definitely get a lot more time when you're when you're younger. Like it just makes it easier.
For sure.
But when you get to like high school and like even university or college, like it gets really hard.
So speaking about your sub-5 record, Well, talk us through that. So how did you feel on the day? How did you feel when you got that scramble? And what was it like when you put your hands down and you saw the time that you got?
Okay. So I had just gotten sponsored by the Cubicle. So sponsorships really were quite exclusive back then. So I was, really pleased to be able to travel around the U.S. And represent the Cubicle. So I think that was one of my first competitions that I flew to. It was in it was in Maryland at River Hill High School. Actually, they have a really good cubing community there. But yeah, I was, going there. I think I was second in the world in 3x3 at the time. So I definitely knew I was capable of a record, but I was more excited that I had a chance to compete with some people I didn't know. That I don't see very often. And I think the competition did have 4 rounds of 3x3. So I probably did have in the back of my mind, the thought that a record would be possible. I think the first 2 rounds of 3x3 weren't too great. So based on that, I was, kind of unsure. I was just going to make the most of the rest of the day. And I believe it was the semifinal of 3x3. I think it was pretty late in the day, kind of dark outside. So I wasn't super energized. And, I really, again, I wasn't expecting anything spectacular. But obviously I got the 490 scramble. During inspection, it wasn't particularly very good. It wasn't a very good scramble. I probably only planned out cross, to be honest with you, but I got quite lucky in the solution. And I think once I saw the OLO case, I knew it was going to skip. And I think that's when I started to realize, wow, this could be a good solve. And when I threw my hands down, I just remember yelling before I even saw the timer, which is so weird. Like, I mean, most people, you have to look at the time before you yell, but I guess somehow based on all my practice before, I knew it was a sub 5. So I, jumped out of my seat, saw 490, and it was just utter shock.
And I think one of the judges, they yelled out like, wow, wow. And then the whole crowd just went nuts.
Yeah. I think that was one of the craziest days in cubing history. Obviously I have to mention the events that happened before that. So I think, in the morning, I believe Colin Burns got a 5.21 miss scramble. Wow. And that really shocked us because, he was the world record holder at the time. So breaking it again was quite a feat. But then word got out that it was a miss scramble. So that was kind of a letdown. But shortly after, Keaton Ellis got the 5.09. And it was kind of funny because that scramble, I'm not sure if it was the first of the round, but Tanzer Balantos, he got a really good time on it, like a low 6. So we knew something good was coming. And then Keaton got that 5.09. So I was really happy for him. And obviously after you have basically 2 world records, you don't expect another one would be broken, but it did happen, and that just made it all the more unbelievable for me.
That's
yeah.
insane. That kind of reminds me of the day that Jack Kai got the blind world record and Felix got the average as well on the same day.
Oh, really?
Oh,
which competition was that?
It was Brisbane. Was it? Can't remember. Mitch, do you remember? Was it qualifications?
I think it might have been qualifications, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Are you talking about last year? Or?
Oh, yeah, that was last year.
Okay. Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah. And so what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Where do you think cubing will be in 10 years' time?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think if you asked me that 10 years ago, or really asked any other top cuber that 10 years ago, no one would have predicted that the WCA would have, over 100,000 competitors and that there would actually be professional speed cubers competitions in dozens of countries. So I definitely don't want to underestimate cubing. I think it has the potential to reach millions of people. I do believe anyone can solve the cube. I think the biggest challenge to cubing is that, as top cubers progress more, it's going to be really hard to break the top. So I think having more of a spectator-friendly scene is definitely going to encourage growth. And I think Red Bull and Rubik's could have a hand in making that possible. But as far as cubing innovation goes, I think Chris Trans stated that it's pretty much, well, not quite stagnated, but it's definitely slowed down. So I think, again, like cubing's just going to have to transform more socially than in terms of like innovation and technology. But it definitely does have quite a bit of potential, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And just like the numbers that people are getting, like you have to admit, like cubing on YouTube has not been like the biggest thing, but now it's like actually becoming like mainstream. Like there's some YouTubers that's pulling like massive views on cubing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Felix almost has 500,000 subscribers. So that's quite crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. And what was I going to say? The cubing hardware, like in the last 2 years, it's gotten really, really good. And yeah, it's a bit like phones. Like every year, there's like slightly less improvements every year.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I think eventually,
Yeah.
But what I'm looking forward to is to seeing how fast what's the limit? Like how fast can we possibly go? Because obviously Max Park, he can get threes and stuff like in home, but like what's the fastest time that can be possible?
The top cubers in the world, I'd say, Timon, Max, they both share the fact that they practice, an insane amount every day. So I think those two will really push the limits of cubing. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I do think that averaging, low 5 to sub 5 on 3x3 is a very real possibility. But I'm not quite as experienced in other events, but I do think 5 flat on 3x3 is attainable with what we know currently.
Yeah, definitely. And since you're sponsored by Moyu, have you actually met have you met Yusheng Du?
No, I haven't met Yusheng Du. When he set the record, I was actually, when was that? Was it 2018, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was out of cubing at the time. So yeah, I haven't had the chance to meet him yet, but I definitely would like to visit Moyu eventually. Unfortunately, some travel opportunities haven't worked out in the past, but I think it would be cool to visit the Moyu facilities and meet Yusheng, who is an employee there. That would be cool.
Oh wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
Speaking of Moyu, how did you get sponsored by them? Like, what happened to get sponsored, and what about in your career did that happen?
So Moyu has always had this promotion where if you use their cube for a world record, they'll offer you prize money in exchange for using your image. And that's after I set the 490. That's pretty much what sparked my sponsorship. We were both on good terms. I liked their cubes. They wanted to use me for promotion. So I've been with them ever since. I guess, it's pretty much been 5 years. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And obviously the WRM 2020 came out. Have you actually felt it?
Yeah, I have felt it. I do think it's a really good cube. I haven't practiced a lot on it because, well, really, I haven't practiced that much recently. But I do want a setup version from the cubicle because I do think it has quite a bit of potential. In comparison to the previous WRM, I think it's To me, it seems a little more compact. Definitely is faster too. So I think it's more of a modern speed cube. So it'll definitely suit the faster and lighter turners better. So I'll have to give it more of a shot in the future.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, Mitch, you just got it a couple of days ago, and I've actually felt it. It's so light.
Yeah.
So fast as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't mind the size either.
Yeah.
How'd you
It definitely is a modern speed cube. Fits all those parameters.
Yeah, definitely. It competes more with like GAN, but the older like sort of GTS 2Ms, they were good. They just don't they don't fit the same technology. Like it's different now.
They can't compete anymore. No.
I really like their budget cube though, the RS3M 2020. I think that's incredible for the price.
Oh
Yeah.
That's been my main until a couple of days ago when I got the WRM.
Oh, wow, awesome.
Such an
and then the GAN 11 Pro, I've heard that's really good too.
Yeah.
So maybe Chi has something in works. I don't know.
It sounds like
We'll
GAN's
see.
just copying Apple's like name.
Oh yeah. That's what a lot of people say. The tech company comparison is, I think it's GAN is Apple, Moyu is Samsung, and I forgot the others, but yeah, GAN is kind of like Apple.
Yeah.
Quite funny. How'd you get sponsored by the Cubicle?
So the Cubicle reached out to me, I believe, I think it was early 2015. So that's after I'd set a couple 2x2 world records, 3x3 North American record. So I think I was second in the world for 3x3 and right at the top for 2x2. Actually, this is a funny story. They emailed me with a proposal, but I was like 12 or 13 back then. So I was like, I think I was 13. No, 14. And yeah, I just didn't check my email back then. So that email kind of slipped away. But then I think at US Nationals 2015, that's when Phil approached me and directly, and we worked something out, and I was sponsored right after that.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
It's kind of funny though, because like you miss this huge opportunity, because like only a couple cubers were sponsored back then, like Kevin Hayes and Antoine Canton, and then I think Felix was too, but not by the Cubicle. But yeah.
Wow. That's a lesson to always check your emails.
Yeah, exactly.
That's quite funny.
Yeah.
Now, during your journey, have you had any setbacks during your career, and how have you managed to overcome them?
Yeah, so I guess the elephant in the room is my arthritis. That was definitely the biggest setback for me in my cubing career.
Yeah, definitely.
And what makes it so weird is that no other top cuber has really experienced that before. I've had some people reach out to me and say, "Oh, hey, I know how to solve the cube, and I also have arthritis. You're super inspiring." But when it happened, nobody I knew in cubing really knew what was going on. Even doctors were kind of struggling to diagnose me. So that all of that uncertainty was, super unsettling. But I pretty much, I had to go through a series of physical therapy. I pretty much had to stop cubing, stop practicing. But eventually I got the diagnosis in early 2018. And to be honest with you, that was more of a relief because, I actually knew what was going on. I had a prognosis. I knew the steps that I needed to take to get back. And at that point, I was really unsure if I'd be able to return to cubing, just to kind of avoid disappointment. I to be honest, I didn't expect that I was going to come back, but fortunately, I stayed diligent with my stretching. I got on medication, and I was able to start practicing in late 2018 and competed for the first time in January 2019.
Yeah, wow. That's really amazing. Like the fact that you managed to keep going and the fact that you're back at it, obviously. But
Yeah.
have you like had to like work out like a practice schedule, or you have to work out like warm-ups or something that can help, like, or even the medication, has that been helping?
Yeah, it definitely has helped. I think this is more of an issue that I'm gonna have to deal with for probably the rest of my life. Um, it's under control though, which is a good thing. But really what it boils down to is I have to have a different approach to cubing these days. So whenever I know that I'm going to be cubing a lot in a day, like at a competition, I really have to watch, how much I practice. Like if I sit down at a table and I'm talking to people, it's really easy to, oh, hey, you want to race? And I'm like, I don't know. Or I'll be like, hey, 5 sols. So yeah, I really do have to focus on, those seemingly small occurrences, but I just have to take more of a conservative approach to cubing, but otherwise I think I can compete pretty normally.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
Something like Worlds last year, did that take like a big toll on your like body, or were you like really painful?
Yeah, I'm still a little frustrated with that. Warm up Sydney was perfectly fine. I was a little jet lagged, but I think I managed it pretty well. And I placed, I think I was 5th, but I, was pretty close to podium, or, somewhat close.
Yeah.
And I also podium in 2x2. So I thought I was in good position for Worlds. But unfortunately in Australia, I think it was winter, and my hands don't do particularly well during winter. So I started getting some swelling on Monday and Tuesday following warm up Sydney. And for Worlds, I was really kind of bummed out because I knew that I needed rest time, like ideally a week. But I just didn't have that time. So I went on like an anti-inflammatory medication. But the thing that I didn't realize was that it sedates you.
Really, yeah.
So yeah, your reaction time slows down, your processing speed kind of slows down.
Wow.
So yeah, at Worlds, I definitely was not at 100%. My times, I made the final, which is good, but I think I definitely left some stuff on the table, which is unfortunate. But I had a great experience. It was really fun still.
I think it was a really good social event, though. I think that's like what I got out of it.
Yeah.
And obviously Laser Monkey, I think he did a great job on like covering like your like experience and your like setbacks. I think he did a good, was it like a video really or like,
yeah.
A lot of
you
people
were in it too, right?
Oh yeah, I was in one of them. Yeah. I think not many people actually knew about your like arthritis, but that really like opened their minds and like sort of like it informed them about like what you deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a really well made video.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the video. So apart from cubing, what do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
Okay, so I'm a really big fan of sports. First and foremost, that's what pretty much occupies my free time. I like to follow American football, baseball, basketball, hockey, all of those. But recently, I'm kind of looking to the future. I want to pursue a career in either tech or finance. So I'm really focusing on learning, or I'm working on data science and machine learning. I really want to pursue a career in those fields. So I'm learning my skills, honing my skills. And outside of school, tech skills and cubing and sports, not too much, but I am pretty busy still. So
yeah, definitely. That's really good.
Yeah.
Yep. So, what have you actually been like doing in quarantine? Obviously, you have online classes, but any other activities that you've been up to during the quarantine?
I guess I've been hanging out with family a lot, spending a lot of time with family. That's been really good because usually at university I'm away most of the time. Um, Unfortunately, with my arthritis medication, I'm immunocompromised, so I have to be really watchful with, um, seeing people and going out in public. So I haven't had too many opportunities to do that, but I've been enjoying my time at home, making the most of online queuing comms, and just
Yeah.
spending time with family, I guess.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah, it's quite hard when you're stuck in quarantine. You don't have
Yeah.
much to do.
How's it been in Australia?
We're actually pretty good right now. We got out of quarantine maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Now
Mhm.
in Melbourne, which is where the Worlds was at,
Yeah.
that's very there's a lot of coronavirus happening there, and
Okay.
they're in full lockdown and stuff. But
This-
where we live
yeah.
in South Australia, so it's not as bad.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I know New Zealand is pretty much perfect, so I'd assume a lot of Australia is the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Australia is very good except for Victoria, which is where Melbourne is. Like
Okay.
everywhere else is we can travel now to every state except I think Victoria.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really frustrating the U.S. can keep it under control like you guys.
I just
Yeah.
think it's because of
But-
the massive population, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely a factor. But a lot of people aren't disciplined. I can tell you that. I'd actually say, the majority of people are following guidelines, but all it takes is a small minority to mess everything up, and
Yeah.
we don't have the best enforcers here. So,
Right. Well, that's about it. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so
That's
much,
fine.
Lucas.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was really good.
Awesome. All right.
All
See
right.
ya.
Thanks, Lucas, for coming on. That was such a good interview. We wish you all the best in your future and hope to have you on again. Okay, now for everybody's favorite part of the show, not really, true or false. So for those of you who haven't been following, we've had a true or false competition over the last 6 months. Each of us have been going one by one. And this is the final month. So I believe that we were tied at 7 points each. And then last month, when it was Jan's turn to answer, he got 3 out of 5. So now I've got to get 4 out of 5 to win. I don't know what I'll win. I guess I just win a round of applause for you guys. So all I plead for you is that when I get the 4th answered and I beat Jan, that you guys all clap and cheer.
Let's see what we can do.
All right, let's go.
True or false? The Yushin Little Magic 3x3 non-magnetic released in 20.
I'm gonna say true for that one.
False. It released in 2018.
I knew it was around about that time, but I just wasn't quite sure. For
Okay.
me, not you.
Yeah, well, if you want to win.
Yeah.
All right. In a recent interview, Timon said that he cubes pretty much every time of the day except when he's eating.
True.
That is correct. True or false? JR Cuber used to be the biggest cubing YouTuber back in 2017.
I'm gonna go true for that one.
That is correct.
Nice.
True or false? Felix Zemdes. True or false? Felix Zemdegs has the most subscribers out of any cubing channel on YouTube.
I'm gonna say false for that one because I'm pretty sure J-Perm overtook him a couple of days ago.
Correct. J-Perm is now the biggest cubing YouTuber.
Let's go. This is the deciding question, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh.
True or false? Currently, daily. Don't look it up.
I'm gonna.
Correct.
Yes.
Speakeep Shop does have more subscribers.
Okay, and on that note, we will end the show here. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you to all our sponsors of the show. We really appreciate it. Of course, Kathleen, Harry Daniels, Cubing Madness on YouTube, and Tino Cubing. Make sure you guys go sponsor us as well. Shop at Daily Puzzles and use discount code Parity for 10% off. Follow us on Instagram and on Twitter and listen to us on Spotify and Apple Music. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We'll see you guys.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching, and thanks so much to Lucas Etter. We really appreciate you opening up to us. It was really good. It's really inspiring to Cubers. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you later. Peace.